You're using Fortinet in the cloud. How do you go ahead and install it? Well, there's a couple of ways, or more than a couple of ways, I should say. You can, from the Azure portal, go to Marketplace. And once you're in Marketplace, you can search for Fortinet. And this will bring up a number of options to choose from. The Fortinet FortiGate next generation firewall. This one has a drop down where you can deploy a single VM, an active passive, highly available using the Fabric connector, or an active with load balancers, or an active passive with load balancers. It depends on what you're trying to accomplish, but you'll pick one of those. An Azure application, that means that there's a templated, guided way through the deployment of the FortiGate. If you see something like a virtual machine, that means it's just a standard virtual machine deployment where Azure has put its default template on top of that. But you have a number of Fortinet products here that you can deploy. If you switch to tile view, or if you switch from the tile view to, say, list view, or even the table view, you'll see all the products that we have in Azure Cloud that can be deployed from the marketplace. Now, this is the marketplace from the portal. However, you can go to azuremarketplace.microsoft.com and get a similar experience. There's some different drop-down filters that you can utilize, but again, if you search for Fortinet, you'll see all the Fortinet products that we have available here. One of the things that you will see in the azuremarketplace.microsoft.com is the ability to test drive a FortiGate as well as test drive a FortiWeb. So the FortiGate test drive is there, and then the FortiWeb test drive is with the FortiWeb web application firewall test drive. What's cool about a test drive is we actually deploy the FortiGate or the FortiWeb in our subscription. It costs nothing to go through the test drive. There's a guide that goes along with it. We deploy it for you. Normally it's anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes to deploy one of these environments. Some of them are already, say, hot deployed. They're there for you to utilize. Just go ahead, click test drive, and you'll get some credentials sent to you once you log into the Azure environment. You can also, from a developer standpoint, a developer methodology for utilizing Fortinet's products, because all of our products that are in the cloud are deployable through infrastructure as code capabilities, whether it's ARM templates or Bicep. You can also use Terraform and then Ansible. If you go to our GitHub repo, you can go to the Azure Templates repo, and we have a number of templates there, much more than what we have in the marketplace. Now, the marketplace has the standard deployments available, the standard architectures. But for example, if you go into FortiGate, you'll see that in addition to the standard architectures of single VM and active and active passive architectures, we have deployments for availability zones, Azure Application Gateway, Azure Gateway Load Balancer. Some of these are created with the preview features that Microsoft has put into Azure. And if you pick any one of these, or I shouldn't say anyone, but if you pick one of these, like let's just look at the active passive external load balancer, internal load balancer, and scroll down in the README, you'll see a picture of the architecture just like you would in our Fortinet documentation on our website. You'll see a picture of the architecture in availability sets as well as availability zone. Our products typically work across sets and zones. And there's some deployment information. You can deploy via Cloud Shell. You can deploy via the Azure Marketplace Wizard. These templates that are actually in our GitHub environment are the same templates that are backing the marketplace for our marketplace offerings. Or you'd use standard custom template deployment. We also have a way for you to visualize what actually gets deployed when you run this templated environment. So that's all out here for you to utilize as a developer. The marketplace, both places where there's the marketplace through the portal or through Azure Marketplace. As well, you can go to our github.com/Fortinet Azure Templates repository, and there's a wide variety of Azure templates that we have there for FortiGates, FortiWebs, FortiManager, FortiAnalyzer, etc. And you can deploy these through a number of mechanisms directly from GitHub. As well, you could go into the Cloud Shell environment in Azure and you can deploy from there.